Diego Armando Maradona spent his life in a state of permanent siege. Beneath the stadium lights, he was a figure of worship. Inside the tunnel, he was a man struggling to survive a level of public scrutiny that eventually became a form of captivity. That struggle began here, in Villa Fiorito, a shantytown on the southern industrial edge of Buenos Aires. It was a place defined by its absence of paved roads, sewers, or a police station. A precarious environment where survival depended on wits and trickery. His parents, who had migrated from the rural northeast, lived in a home built from clay and reeds. His father, a factory worker of Guarani and Italian descent, and his mother, a maid, saw their son's life change at age 3 when he was gifted a leather football, an object he was known to sleep with every night. By 9, his talent was already a commodity. His family realized that his ability with the ball was their primary escape from the slums, placing the financial survival of his parents and 7 siblings onto the shoulders of a child. He joined the youth ranks of Argentinos Juniors, a team known as Los Cebollitas, leading them to a 136-game winning streak. He made his professional debut in the La Paternal neighborhood at age 15, becoming the golden boy of a club that had never won a title before his arrival. A world record transfer to Boca Juniors soon followed. It brought him his first taste of national adulation, but the financial strain of his contract nearly bankrupted the club, fueling a media obsession that followed his every move. His improvisational style on the pitch made his teammates appear more capable than they were. By intuitively reading the game, he elevated average players into champions, creating a transitive ownership over the team's success. This brilliance came at a cost. He was increasingly surrounded by an entourage that indulged his excesses and filtered his contact with the world, creating a barrier of celebrity that separated the player from his teammates and coaches. In 1982, FC Barcelona broke the world transfer record again, paying £5 million for his services. He was dropped into the center of a highly commercialized European establishment that expected immediate, sustained results from its investment. His time in Spain was defined by trauma. After missing months due to hepatitis, he suffered a career-threatening ankle fracture from a tackle by the Butcher of Bilbao, an impact Maradona later described as the sound of wood snapping. The frustration culminated in the 1984 Copa del Rey final. In front of King Juan Carlos and a national television audience, Maradona initiated a massive on-field brawl, delivering a flying knee to an opponent that effectively ended his tenure in Catalonia. During these 2 injury-hit seasons, his personal life grew increasingly unstable. It was in the shadows of the Barcelona nightlife that he began the cocaine habit that would later derail his career. His rebellious, street survival instincts proved incompatible with the rigid Spanish establishment. He needed an environment that would indulge his genius rather than attempt to regulate his personality. He found that environment in Naples. In 1984, the city was struggling with the aftermath of the Irpinia earthquake and systemic poverty, while being targeted by discriminatory chants from Italy's wealthy northern neighbors. 75,000 fans gathered at the Stadio San Paolo just to see him arrive. The people of Naples immediately identified with a man from the slums of Buenos Aires, adopting him as a champion for the marginalized South. His performances led Napoli to their first ever league titles. These victories were celebrated as a triumph over the industrial and political power of Milan and Turin, breaking a centuries-old pattern of northern dominance. In Naples, he became a secular saint. His image replaced those of religious icons in the streets, serving as a weapon of pride for a population long accustomed to being treated as outsiders in their own country. The 1986 World Cup quarterfinal against England became the defining chapter of his career. For Argentina, the match was a symbolic revenge for the soldiers lost in the Falklands War 4 years earlier. In the 51st minute, Maradona used his hand to punch the ball into the net. This hand of God goal was hailed in Argentina as a masterpiece of viveza criolla, the triumph of street-smart cunning over the rigid rules of the establishment. Just 4 minutes later, he produced the goal of the century, a 60-meter dash through the entire English defense. It was an act of pure athletic genius that even his detractors could not deny. Those 4 minutes encapsulated his dual identity. He was the rule-breaking rebel and the divine savior, existing in a space where talent and trickery were one and the same. The adulation in Naples was suffocating. As his fame reached a fever pitch, his private life collapsed. He faced paternity scandals and spent decades refusing to acknowledge his illegitimate son, Diego Jr. He sought refuge with the Giuliano Mafia clan. The Camorra provided high-grade cocaine and privacy, while he provided public prestige. To protect their investment, Napoli's management intercepted drug testing protocols, substituting clean urine samples to shield his mounting addiction. This protection evaporated after the 1990 World Cup. In 1991, he failed a drug test and was handed a 15-month ban. Shortly after returning to Argentina, he was arrested by federal police for possession, his downward spiral now visible to the entire world. The very environment that granted him godlike status in Naples had facilitated his destruction. Without the barriers of fame, the man beneath the icon was left completely exposed. His appearance at the 1994 World Cup ended in disgrace. Testing positive for a banned stimulant, he was expelled, ending his 17-year international career. His health declined rapidly in the years that followed. After a near-fatal coma in 2000, he sought refuge in Cuba, spending years in rehabilitation clinics under the protection of Fidel Castro to treat his addiction and chronic heart problems. Following his death in November 2020, the grief was global. Murals and monuments transformed him into a permanent fixture of the urban landscape, finalizing his transition from a living man into a painted icon. While the myth of Diego Maradona achieved a permanent place in cultural memory, the human being beneath it was crushed by the expectations of millions.